What's gonna make you understand what the shock of the hour is? Now that we know who the power is.
No one can make an intelligent decision without being properly informed. This is why this world wants to control the media. This is why media hype can take you up, take you down. So you don't know anymore who's really good, because the media can make a wicked man look good and make a good man look evil. That is why.
Good evening and assalamu alaikum. You are watching a special edition of the Final Call News Hour. I am your host, Herman Mohammed. The Final Call News Hour is the partner of the Final Call newspaper and the Final Call online edition that you can visit at digital.finalcall.com. The Final Call newspaper is the most widely circulated, black-owned and operated publication, not only in this country but in the world, and also serves as the communications organ for the Nation of Islam. Again, my name is Brother Herman Mohammed, and welcome to the program. This evening, we're coming out of volume number 35, issue number 11, which reads, Execution by Firing Squad. With his back against the wall, a hail of police bullets riddle a black man. Activist leaders say Mario Woods was executed by police in San Francisco, and the coverage begins on page 3 of this edition of the Final Call News Hour in the Final Call newspaper. Again, my name is Herman Mohammed, and we're going to get right into the article. And all I have to say, brothers and sisters, is here we go again. Another black man murdered at the hands of a ruthless police department. And again, this article begins on page 3. And it is written by our beautiful Sister Charlene Mohammed, national correspondent for the Final Call newspaper, who writes out of Los Angeles, California. And it reads, Execution in San Francisco will not be covered up, activists vow. It starts out, any way you look at it, city cops shot 26-year-old Mario Woods execution style and will be held accountable, vowed his family members, activists, religious and political leaders, former cops, and teachers who have spoken out about the chilling death. It continues, the stunning shooting December 2nd was caught on 2 cell phone video cameras. Police riddled Mr. Woods' body with bullets while his hands were down and his back against the wall. This apparently contradicted Police Chief Greg Sewer's claims that his officers acted because Mr. Woods approached them with a knife in his raised hand. At least 21 shots were fired into the young black man, who police said was a suspect in a stabbing and carrying a knife. Police also labeled him a gang member. Mario Woods. And again, here is the chilling cover of this particular issue of the Final Call newspaper, which depicts Brother Mario Woods being shot execution style by San Francisco police. The article continues on page 36. Let me give you a little bit of background here. Excuse me while I get my things together. Okay, so apparently this brother Mario Woods was having some mental issues, and the police were called He had a kitchen knife at some point, which they said he came. Of course, he came at them with it, but the camera didn't say such. And I would have the videotape, and I would show you the videotape, but I'm going to tell you why I'm not doing that in a few minutes. But let me read what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had to say about this particular incident. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said this was not just murder. He said this was a hate crime, and the level of hatred that you would have to have in order to shoot that many times, even a hunter who is hunting wild game will not shoot that game more than once or twice. But to shoot this young man carrying allegedly a kitchen knife speaks to how these officers viewed not just Brother Mario Woods, but how you would view black men and the threat that you perceive from black men as a challenge to your world and your rule, the minister said. So that's a quote from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so they killed this young man, and the community is totally outraged, so much so that they're making sure they have made vows, like the article said, that this death will not go unanswered. Again, this is Mario Woods, and the article continues. So if you need to do some research, of course, again, pick up your Final Call newspaper from one of your local FOI in your city, and also you can go to digital.finalcall and subscribe to the Final Call newspaper to where you can get it on your cell phone or your tablet or your desktop or your laptop, and have that every single week without fail. The representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in San Francisco, whose name is Brother Christopher Muhammad, says to go from non-lethal to lethal is called restraint. And what they and he's asking a question because they said they tried to subdue the brother with bean bags, and that didn't work. Again, these are 5 or 6 police officers with guns, tasers, bean bags, all sorts of weaponry to take this mentally disturbed brother down, but they chose to shoot him as if they were a firing squad. To go from non-lethal to lethal is called restraint, asked Minister Christopher Muhammad. You don't go from firing a few bean bags to then firing 40 shots on a man that's carrying a kitchen knife. You wait him out. Very excellent point. Use the same interventions and strategies deployed when white people accused of worse crimes than Mr. Woods are accused, the Nation of Islam student minister said. A settlement and a lawsuit is fine, but the thing that will settle the heart of the breast of the mother whose heart grieves over the loss of her son, over the murder of her son, is getting justice for Mario. And we've got to know what justice looks like. That's what Student Minister Christopher Muhammad said. And this particular incident follows multiple cases of multiple shots fired into blacks by police, which have been in the news. And the final call continues and ends this particular article by saying multiple shots fired into blacks by police have captured national headlines. LA County Sheriff's deputies fatally shot a man December 12th, firing at least a dozen shots, even as the man crawled away on the ground. Deputies said the man had a gun and fired shots into the air and pointed the weapon at them. Police said a handgun was recovered at the scene. Laquan McDonald, which was covered in another Final Call news paper, the last issue. A Chicago teen was shot 16 times last fall by a police officer who is now charged with murder. 137 shots were fired into a vehicle carrying Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams in 2012. An officer accused of manslaughter in that case was acquitted earlier this year. And again, this particular officer stood on top of the car. He, along with his fellow officers, shot 137 shots into a vehicle that was already stopped. Yet he was acquitted, not just of murder, but of manslaughter. So justice stands afar off, and we have got to get some justice. And let me say this, brothers and sisters. These stories are in the news all of the time. This particular story didn't make national headlines like it should have, but again, the final call is covering it. Last week, we covered the Chicago style shakeup, which dealt with the murder of Laquan McDonald. And every issue of the final call, we're covering those stories that the mainstream media is not covering for whatever reason. Well, we know why, but we're making sure that you stay in the know. And the news, of course, isn't good news, but ultimately it's going to work for our good when we finally free ourselves from these people who don't give a good goddamn about black people. So, again, get your latest final call. The next story I want to deal with in these few short minutes, I want to deal with, I want to do somewhat of a movie review. And the final call covers it in this particular issue on page... Hold on now. You gotta pardon me. Get my stuff together. It's a movie, Spike Lee joint, Chi-raq. Let me tell you exactly which page this appears on. It appears on page 9 of this current edition of the Final Call newspaper. The movie Chi-raq, a Spike Lee joint. So the article, this one's written by a guest columnist whose name is Naima Latif, who could be reached on Twitter at Naima L. That's NaimahL. Chi-raq. Will the real message in the movie get missed amidst the sex? That's what the title of the commentary is. And she starts her article off. Spike Lee is not a civil rights activist. He's not a politician. He's a filmmaker. That is the point that must be remembered when viewing the movie Chi-raq, which opened in theaters on Friday, December 4th. Critics of the film have accused Spike Lee of not presenting a viable solution to the problem of gun violence. But Mr. Lee said that his purpose for creating this film was to expose Chicago's extreme situation in order to get people talking with hopes that a dialogue would lead to solutions. Crowds of invited guests packed into the Chicago Theater Sunday night, November 22nd, for the movie premiere. The controversy leading up to the screening had audience poised to either love or hate Spike Lee's portrayal of Chicago as the murder capital of the USA. The cast includes Samuel Jackson, Nick Cannon, Wesley Snipes, Jennifer Hudson, John Cusack, Tiona Paris, Angela Bassett, D.B. Sweeney, Harry Lennox, and Steve Harris. And let me say, I'm so glad that the Final Call newspaper chose to cover this particular film because I went and saw it, and amidst all of the controversy, because I heard so many negative things about it, a lot of the local Chicago gangsters and rappers didn't like the movie. A lot of people in Chicago, from Chicago, just based off of what they heard, didn't like the movie because they thought that Spike Lee was exploiting the name Chi-raq, which is a play on Iraq, because and the reason why Chicago is called Iraq, if you did not know, is because more people have been murdered, and Spike Lee cites this in the movie. More people have been murdered on the streets of Chicago than in both the Iraqi and Afghanistan wars in the last 15 years in both of those places combined. So I think there have been like over 7,000 deaths like in the last 15 years or something like that, or since the first two Gulf Wars started. So Spike Lee does this movie, uh, which again, a lot of people were upset because they misunderstood what Spike was trying to do with the movie, or with the title of the movie being Chi-raq. I think that uh, your average Negro moviegoer felt that a movie like Chi-raq was going to be something along the lines of Menace to Society or Boys in the Hood. It was going to be a shoot 'em up, bang bang, uh, gangster docudrama, which is not what that movie was. The movie stars, again, this sister named Tiona um, Paris, and Tiona Paris plays a character named Liz Estrada, and here's a picture of our beautiful sister um, walking down the street, a scene from the movie. She plays Liz Estrada, which is the Greek play written by Aristophanes that Spike Lee made a modern adaptation of in order to make this movie Chi-raq. It's interesting to note that the title Chi-raq isn't just the title of, or the name of Chicago, but it is the name of the title character in the movie, who's played by Nick Cannon. Here's a picture of Spike at a press conference, and he's got Father Flair to the right there, with the Peacemaker T-shirt on, and he used a lot of extras from Chicago to make the movie. But let me just read a little bit more about what Brother Spike was able to do in making this movie. And the final call goes on. You'll see some familiar Chicago faces throughout the film. Real activists at the church and in the protest scenes. Real mothers of children slain by gun violence holding real photos of their lost loved ones, and maybe even some of your own friends and neighbors in various other scenes. To his credit, as pointed out by actor D.B. Sweeney, who played Chicago's mayor, Spike Lee's venture created more jobs and employed more Chicagoans than many of the Chicago's aldermen. So again, Spike Lee did a great thing in bringing this movie to Chicago. He actually made the South Side of Chicago look like a really nice place to live. Honestly, the movie was stunning in the way that it looked. Again, and it was a movie that had a moral. He took it from, like I said, a Greek play, based on the Greek play Lysistrata, and even inspired by the recent success of the Liberian women in using a sex strike to end decades of civil war. And it was written by Spike Lee and Kevin Wilmot. It is intentionally satirical, as was the original Greek play Lysistrata. Spike reminded reporters at a press conference because, again, people were concerned about, just using the title Chi-raq. But again, it's the name of the title character as well as the city of Chicago. So Spike did a great movie, and I would say if you want to see a movie with a serious message, and there was some sex in the movie, I have to say that, but here's my thing about Spike Lee putting some sex in a movie that deals with a sex strike. If you don't have sex in the movie, if you don't have certain language in the movie, it's not believable. Understand, like the article points out in the beginning, Spike Lee is a filmmaker. So whenever you make a film, whenever a filmmaker makes a film with a title, that is his interpretation, that is his vision, that is his story about what Chi-raq should be about. That's what needs to be understood. And also, people need to really understand, man, the serious message of positivity that cannot be missed in this movie. Spike Lee did his thing, and I commend him for making a piece of cinema that was, like I said, it was aesthetically beautiful. The music was great. Um, there was spoken word in the production, which threw a lot of people off, but it's what they were saying, not how they were saying it. And we have to be reminded, especially as members of the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, don't pay attention to how I say it. Listen to what I say. And so Spike Lee, we have to be told the same thing. Don't pay attention to how it was said. It was said in rhymes throughout the movie, but listen to the dialogue that Spike Lee was talking about in this movie. I mean, he had to touch on every case of police brutality and black murder that we've seen in this country in the last 5 years, man. And every major case. I can't say all of them because there have been so many of our people who have been murked in America KKK in the last 5 years. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I give the movie Chi-raq 2 thumbs up, two black power fists up. Go see this movie. Do yourself a favor, but keep your mind open. And I said it in the barbershop, man. Niggas need to open their third eye, straight up, because they're missing the point. So go see Liz Estrada if you've seen it and you didn't get it. Go and see it again, but open your mind and really just listen to what's being said and pay attention to the core message of the movie because it was a very powerful, positive message. So, with that being said, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed my little baby commentary on Spike Lee's Chi-raq. And make sure you pick up this edition of the Final Call newspaper, Execution by Firing Squad, and pick up all of the editions of the Final Call newspaper wherever you can get them. And again, go to digital.finalcall.com. What I wanted to say with regards to that, with regards to Execution by Firing Squad and all of the victims of police brutality and murder that are, I mean, these police are just murdering us like 90 going west, and it's epidemic. And it seems like Groundhog Day because I remember saying this a couple of years ago that it seems like every other week or every day we're hearing about our people being killed. So what we're doing and what we're continuing to do since 10-10-15, the historic 20th anniversary of the Million Man March, Justice or Else movement, where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called for us to boycott Christmas, is we're doing just that. This year we're saying up with Jesus, down with Santa, boycott Christmas from November 27th through January 2nd. And go on your social media and say hashtag Justice or Else, hashtag Blackout Black Friday, which is already passed, hashtag Boycott Christmas, and then hashtag Jeremiah 10:2. And for more information, visit justicesales.com and your denverloc.com if you are in this great city of Denver. But we want to boycott Christmas, and we want to tell you about the importance of boycotting Christmas, and not Christmas itself, not the birth of Christ, because even though December 25th isn't that, that's something totally different, but that's another subject for another time. We're saying boycott holiday spending. Stop this unnecessary purchasing of all this bullshit that we buy in the name of Jesus, because it don't make no damn sense. And the other thing is, we could get ourselves together and go to war to stop the police brutality, to stop all of these cases of racism and white supremacy that are ill affecting our people. We could do that. You know, we got some soldiers, but we're not ready to fight on that front. The best way for us to fight in this particular hour is to fight with our money, is to withdraw our economic support from this particular system that oppresses us, to stop funding our own oppression. So, again, up with Jesus, down with Santa. Let's boycott Christmas, boycott this holiday spending. If you want to get in with the local organizing committee here in the city of Denver, we meet at the Knowledge Cafe, 1432 Poplar Street in Denver. There's the number there. Again, visit justiceorelse.com or denverloc.com. But let's get on board and let's stop this spending. Let's hold our dollars and let's wait at the end of this particular boycott and see what our next instructions are. But we'll have some money in order to move out because we didn't spend it on frivolous things that our children are just going to throw to the side within a couple of weeks anyway, and we're going to be in debt up to our eyeballs anyway. So let's just do what it is that we know we should do in order for us to be successful, and that is to boycott this holiday spending. Look, man, I am about to get out of here. I want to thank you all for tuning in and hanging with me and watching the Final Call News Hour, being patient with us in our production. But we got to pay for this. So let me say, go, first of all, like we talked about the Knowledge Cafe here in Denver. It's at 1432 Poplar Street. That's our latest venture for economic development in the city of Denver. And let me say this, man, because we do these. We did a GoFundMe campaign for the Knowledge Cafe, and I mean, in all honesty, it raised a couple of $100, and it really was about economic development, and it really still is about economic development. But we didn't raise money the way that we should have raised money. We didn't galvanize and support the way that we should have supported, because it's really going to benefit the whole city of Denver, and it really could be a model all throughout the nation if we got behind it, to a space where we can come together and share knowledge, share ideas, encourage entrepreneurship, encourage ways for us to get free. It could be a model idea, but it's still not too late. You can go to astar2.com and go to the Knowledge Cafe page on that site. And if you feel the need, or if you feel the desire, please donate to the cause, man, of your own liberation and economic salvation, because that's what we push it for. So that's one of the ventures we got going. And if you're, of course, in the city, stop by and get you some coffee bean pie. Check out the books and the art, and just enjoy the atmosphere and just fellowship with your brothers who are trying to, brothers and sisters, excuse me, who are trying to do for self. The other thing is, I got to tell you about Supreme Style, the greatest barbershop in the land. I am your barber, Herman Supreme Style Muhammad, and this is all of my info. Again, you can go to astar2.com, check out our work, check out some of the products that we have at Supreme Style Barbers. Follow me on Facebook, friend me on Facebook, Herman Supreme Style Muhammad. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Brother Herman. Please do that, and I'll follow you back, I promise you. But remember, stay strong, stay black. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Peace, and we out. You've been watching the Final Call News Hour.
Stress, children with gray hair, and mothers leave their newborns right there. No cure, failed suicide. No food, vegetation died. You voted, politicians lied. So used to the pain.
Fresh fade, get the tape or the shadow on it. Them waves so deep, you need a paddle for them. I mean, it's more than just hair. It's the confidence you feeling when you step up out that chair. And I swear, they tell me every bob is mean. From Trav, Herm, B to Saeed, now say hello to the team. Cause the style supreme, my nigga, don't forget the style supreme. They know the style supreme, supreme style. Keep the whole town clean. Get a can of that sheen, spray it on me, make me feel like a king. That's what I mean by gold dreams.